Hey everyone, it is Dave. Welcome into module number 5. This is our first post-midterm module. And just as a reminder, if you have not turned in the journals 1 through 6, you have until Sunday, April 27th to turn those in. So please do so by that date. And then everything from module 5 forward is going to be what comprises the final exam. The setup is just the same. We'll have material in modules 5, 6, and 7, and then module 8 will have the exam and assignment link for the journals. I will also tell you that it'll look like there's more lectures in the second half of the class. There are, but they are shorter lectures. So the time period for the lectures are exactly the same, pre-midterm and post-midterm. But it's just they're broken down into more specific subjects. Some of the lectures are only 10 or 15 minutes in length. So don't be overwhelmed by looking at, oh, wow, I've got 4 lectures this week, which we do. We're going to be dealing with photography this week, which is kind of what brings us into modernism. We'll talk also about modern architecture because modern architecture and modern art kind of go hand in hand. We'll also see and meet the father of modern art, Edward Manet, and that will bring us into Impressionism with Claude Monet. It's a fun week. This is fun material as far as art goes. We're done with the traditional material, and now we're dealing with the avant-garde, the work that is revolutionary and unique and really a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the second half of the class. Let's head over to Module 5. I'll walk you through the material for this week. All right, here we are on the Canvas site. We're going to go ahead and open up Module 5. Don't freak out by the amount of material here, but it's very easy to get through. So we'll start right from the top. Once again, our video you're watching here, our action plan for the week, and my office hours every Wednesday from 3 to 7. Our first lecture is on photography. We have the lecture, study guide, and then in the further exploration section, I included Sally Mann's website because I think she's the best living photographer there is. We do have a reading on early photography. This is an essential video, how daguerreotypes are made. And also during the lecture, I'll talk about camera obscuras. This is a really cool video on how this person turned a room into a camera obscura. And the other ones I will tell you are optional, although I do like actually seeing the workplaces of artists, and this is Sally Mann's workshop, and I think it's pretty cool. And she's got a great story as well as far as her work goes. Our next lecture is on architecture. So we've got the lecture, study guide, and in the further exploration section here, we have links to Falling Water's website, also its Facebook page. We have a link to the Stall House website, which is a case study house, and also a map of the case study houses that are all around here in Southern California. That is a Southern California building project back in the 1940s and 50s. We've got a video of Falling Water, the outside of it. You're not allowed to take video inside, but I thought that was a pretty cool video to watch. You do want to watch the modern architecture lecture early in the week because that is the basis for our project this week. Edward Manet is known as the father of modern art. That is a test question, by the way. So Edward Manet, the father of modern art, and he's the first person who really creates avant-garde style art. So the lecture is on him, also some controversial art toward the end of the lecture, the study guide, and in the further exploration section, I'm going to hit the videos first. Luncheon on the Grass and Olympia are the two most important. The reading, I would tell you this one's probably optional, Music in the Tuileries. Only read about a page of Baudelaire's The Painter of Modern Life. But the third reading from the Art Bulletin about Olympia's Maid. This is Lori back here. A really great article about that and about her. So Our final lecture is one that a lot of people like as far as the art movement, which is Impressionism. It's a very happy type of art. This is where Claude Monet, Mary Cassatt, Edgar Degas all take part. We've got the lecture, study guide, and in the further exploration section, we do have a reading. And we also have a very quick video of Claude Monet actually painting. And that's the cool thing about modernism, is that these individuals are living close enough to our lives today where they're documented in several photos, their writings are in first person, and we also have some video of them. Claude Monet happens to have a really long life. He doesn't die until like the 1920s. In it, he is smoking a cigarette. He was a chain smoker. And I would bookmark this if you're really interested in Claude Monet's works. This is a book that came out many years ago, Mad Enchantment, won all sorts of awards. The author there, Ross King, you actually saw him as in the Medici video. He wrote Brunelleschi's Dome. Well, he wrote a lot about modern artists too, and this is a hour and a half long lecture that he did about his book. So it's something that if I was into it, I would bookmark it and then watch it after this semester's over. And then finally, actually not quite finally, we do have a modern architecture worksheet project. What you're going to do is download the worksheet. You're going to then fill out all the questions as you're going to choose a modern architecture building to write about and do some research on. The only caveat is you cannot choose a building from the lecture, nor can you choose the buildings from the examples. However, it is totally okay to use an architect. For instance, Frank Lloyd Wright. You know, I talk about 3 or 4 of his buildings in the lecture. The Guggenheim Museum would be off limits, but any other of the 1,000 buildings that Frank Lloyd Wright designed, it's totally okay. Case study houses. I talk about one in the lecture. I use one for the examples here. You can talk and write about the other 20. That's okay. Or you can find your own building. There's lots of modern architecture around. And it's worth 30 points. So this is a good sized project. We'll take a quick look at the worksheet here. So the worksheet has you first insert a picture of the building. The next question is more about the name, the location, when it was built, and so on. So kind of all the major facts would go here. For 3, this is where you're going to talk about the architect or architectural firm. Question 4, the building materials. Question 5, what makes the building modern? Question 6, how did you end up choosing this building? And question 7, list 3 academic sources you used to find information. If you're using websites, please include a hyperlink, and Wikipedia would not be academic level, just to let you know. After that, we're going to have 2 journals. The journals aren't due until Module 8. So Journal 7 has you going out taking some photos. You're going to choose 6 of the 1 through 12 here. So choose 6 of these to go out and take a picture of. Non-objective, which is just line-shaped color. Architecture, landscape with water. Famous inspiration, which would mean that if you found an artist in the lecture that you really liked, you would take a photo in their style. Self-portrait, colors, contrast, a candid photo, public artwork. This should be accessible to everyone out in a public space. Linear perspective, your favorite spot, and food. And this is how you would submit your 6 images, kind of in that format. So that is journal number 7. And then the final thing we have to do, journal number 8, has you reading an article that came out scary to think, a quarter of a century ago. But it's on Frank Lloyd Wright's building called Falling Water. It's a major part of the lecture. It's a really incredible building. Unfortunately, about 80 years after Frank Lloyd Wright built this building, there were some issues with it. And so an engineering firm had to come in, repair, preserve the home. You're going to list the problems that the home had, what the engineering firm did. And then the third question there just asks you a plain question. Do you think the final word in a design should be the client's, who's paying for the work, or the architect who is creating the building? And I will tell you, if you commission Frank Lloyd Wright to build a building, his would be the final word. So you have to choose one side or the other. It can't be, oh, it's a combination of both, which really it should be. But this is more black and white. Should it be the client or the architect, and why? It's just an opinion answer. That is everything for Module 5. I will be back shortly to tell you about Module number 6. Don't forget, with Module 5, April 27th is also the last day you can turn in your journals from the first half of the class. You will find that still back here in Module 4.